What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers are linked to Giannis Antetokounmpo because it's the Lakers, right? And supposedly Giannis wants to go to either LA team or either New York team, right? Now, I think it's very unlikely that the Lakers are going to be able to land Giannis, right? The Milwaukee Bucks can't tank for the bottom, right? So they need players that can keep them afloat. And yes, you could argue, well, Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and Gabe Benson and these guys, right? But again, is that where you look at a team like the Knicks and it's like, well, we could give you OG and Mikal Bridge. They probably would prefer that type thing, right? So again, I just think compared to these other teams, Houston probably makes the most sense for a team like Milwaukee. They could get a bunch of young, talented players with a ton of upside and kind of rebuild their culture. So the draft picks don't really matter. And if I was the Bucks, I'd be like, I don't even care about your draft picks. I just we want Şengün, give us Şengün, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr. or a Reed or something like that. Boom, let's go. Right. You keep them in, right? Keep everything else, right? We just want, 4 or 5 of your core young guys, right? And now, boom, there you go. And if you're Houston, Houston's doing that, right? Because you'd still have, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, you'd have, Giannis, Amen Thompson, right? You're still in great shape, right? If you're them, and probably one of the best teams in basketball. So to me, I don't want to see the Lakers get starstruck. I don't want the Lakers to chase a star like Giannis and the unlikelihood. And I understand that the Lakers got Luka. So, we all have this. And look, I even say all the time, never say never. You never know what's going to happen, right? All of a sudden we wake up one day and Giannis is a Laker, right? So nothing is impossible. Everything's possible, right? That type of thing. But I think it's very unlikely. And you got to keep in mind, we traded Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a pick for Luka. So it wasn't like we just got him for Rui and Gabe Vincent and whatever else, right? We actually gave value for Luka. Where now you're talking Giannis, I just don't see much of the value. But here's the thing. Here's where I want to see the Lakers do. Instead of getting into the Giannis business and getting all starstruck and being like, ooh, let's go get Giannis, right? And you end up missing out. Now you miss out on all these free agents and all these potential other trades and all this other stuff that could actually make us a contender. I would rather see the Lakers try to be the third or fourth team in that deal. Because any Giannis trade is probably going to take a third, maybe even fourth team because of how cap-strapped the Milwaukee Bucks are as a second team and stuff like that. So they can't just wheel and deal freely, right? So you need third, fourth team stuff like that. So if I'm the Lakers, think about the teams that are involved. You have teams like, the Knicks, the Heat, the Clippers, right? The Brooklyn Nets, right? All teams that have multiple players that make a ton of sense for the Lakers, right? Can you work it out and be part of the deal to where, maybe they're hey, we want Austin Reeves. Okay, well, tell you what, let's do this deal. And, they're going to give you Ivaka Zubat. We'll take Zoo back, right? And now you got Zoo, right? Or, can you get Claxton and Cam Johnson, right? Claxton and Cam Johnson are heading to, or going to be part of the deal. It's those two guys make sense for the Lakers. Right, that'd be great. Give us the perfect center to pair alongside a Luka and a legit 3-and-D guy. Well, hey, what if we give you, Austin Reeves and a pick and whatever else, and you kind of piece things together, right? The Knicks, can you get a Mikal Bridges or an OG Anunoby if they end up being a part of it and you're giving up assets stuff? The Knicks wouldn't trade those guys unless you got something crazy, right? But maybe the Bucks will because they're hey, yeah, if we can get more picks, we'd rather have that than this, that, and the other, right? To me, I look at it as if you're the Lakers, get in on the Giannis trade, but not for Giannis, right? Let Giannis go to one of these other teams and come in and pick up the pieces that you need. And you might be able to even get it at a better deal, right? You might be able to in the cluster where it's because you get a team like Milwaukee who's hey, we're hitting the reset button here, right? Where you might not be able to get an OG for an Austin Reeves, right? And a Rui Hachimura or whatever, but you might be able to from the Bucks because the Bucks are hey, we'd rather have those two guys, than that or whatever, right? Or, there's all these moving parts, or you're a team that needs to match, hey, we need an extra 4 million. It's well, we have a bunch of expiring contracts, right? What if Milwaukee doesn't want a bunch of long-term money, right? like the Lakers, the benefit that the Lakers have, like the biggest asset that the Lakers have that we've seen based on the new CBA are the expiring contracts. It's that simple, right? Why did the Lakers get Dorian Finney-Smith when the Memphis Grizzlies were offering a first? Because the Lakers had expiring contracts and Brooklyn valued the expiring contracts more, right? So what if a Milwaukee Bucks is like if we're going to trade for Giannis, we'd have to take out all this like long-term money, right? Nick Claxton has, 3 years still on his deal for like $75 million or whatever it is, right? Like we don't want like that. We want to kind of hit the reset button here, get out of this purgatory that we're in. Okay. Right now, look, that could also be a benefit to maybe get Giannis, right? Where they're like, yeah, like we're not getting a bunch of young people, but we be terrible for a year. And then now we have all this cap space to do stuff, but also Milwaukee isn't like a premier free agency destination. So, like that's another thing, right? Like to me, I look at it and go, the Lakers' best bet is don't focus on Giannis, let another team go get Giannis, and you get the pieces from everyone else, right? If Houston gets involved, can you, hey, keep Şengün, keep whatever. We just want, can we get a Jabari Smith and, Cam Whitmore, right? And we'll give you, an Austin Reeves and, whatever else and all that, right? Because, hey, you need to stay afloat. So Austin Reeves would be better to keep you afloat with Şengün and whatever. And they might go, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Right? Like, or hey, Austin Reeves is an expiring contract. So if it doesn't work, we can just let him go or maybe use him as a trade chip or whatever. Right? Like, that's where I think the Lakers could really benefit from this whole Giannis business, right? Being in a position to where you can go and get these little pieces here and there and get this piece and get that piece and get this piece, right? And now you might be able to make trades that you wouldn't have been able to make otherwise, right? Because everyone's kind of in the mix of like the Giannis deal. So you're able to get this and that and this and that, right? Where, you might not be able to get a Jabari Smith Jr. and a Cam Whitmore for just Austin Reeves, but maybe from a Milwaukee Bucks team you can, right? Or again, maybe you wouldn't be able, you'd have to give up a first and a pick swap to get Nick Claxton because that's what the Nets want. But maybe the Bucks are like, hey, we just want it. We just don't want the contract, right? So it's like, okay, we'll give you Rui Hachimura and Shake Milton, whatever, and boom, there you go, right? Like, so that is what I think the Lakers, like, what is their biggest, best asset? Their expiring contracts, right? Because they don't have this treasure trove of picks. They're not Houston. They're not, OKC. They're not the Spurs. They're not these teams that have, 35 picks over the next 5 years. Right? They're a team that has, very limited assets. They have like technically 2 tradable firsts, but they can only trade one of them. So really 1 tradable first. They have like 5 pick swaps, and then they'll have like, I think 1 second this upcoming season, something like that, right? Like, so again, like we could go trade 5 pick swaps in a first, but you look at a team like OKC, they could be like, we'll give you Chet and 5 firsts or 12 firsts or whatever. It's like, okay, like we'd rather have that, but also, like there are benefits to like argue where it's like, okay, well, maybe, we can use those expirings, right? Right. We don't really need the draft picks, right? Because again, like a team like OKC, they're gonna be really good with Giannis and SGA. So like, like what? And then okay, we got all these other picks. Like none of these are really like great picks, right? Because it's also the value of the picks, right? Like, if you're the Bucks, unless you're getting picks that are like, potential lottery picks, like again, it doesn't really make sense. Like you're just like, so to me, that's kind of where I see it. But I think honestly, the Lakers focus on the pieces, right? Everyone's going to be focused on Giannis. Everyone's going to want Giannis. Everyone's going to be doing that. Can you come in and be like, okay, what are they trading Giannis for? Okay, these 3 guys make a ton of sense for us for now and the future, right? So let's try to get those pieces, right? Let's try to convince, because Houston's not going to care, right? Houston's not going to care where those players go. They just want Giannis, right? The Nets aren't going to care where their pieces go. They're just going to want Giannis. I mean, even a team like the Clippers. Can you get a Chris Dunn and Ivaka Zubac, right? Like, Perfect. Like any of these guys, Norman Powell, whatever, right? Can you get those guys? Be like, hey, these are veteran guys. We'll give you, Dunk Connect and all this other stuff and all these expiring contracts instead, right? Where all these guys they're on contract for 3 or 4 years, right? So we'll do that. And now you get all the pieces, right? Like Chris Dunn makes sense alongside Luka, right? Vaka Zubat would be great. Norman Powell gives you that 6-man. Now you can trade Austin Reeves. Like that is where if I'm the Lakers, I am looking to acquire stuff. That is where if I'm the Lakers, that's where I think your best value is, rather than trying to sell the farm on Giannis, and you're still probably not going to get it. Now you're missing out on all this other stuff. I'd rather go that route. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? You kind of mixed in the middle? Do you think no, you have to go make a play on Giannis? How do you feel either way? Love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.